name is Winnie. I work at Oze as a social media and community manager. I have my team on the call as well. We have Dave and then Michael Akiboni, that's also on the call. Today's session is going to be on effective e-commerce strategies for your business. And I would like to introduce today's speaker for the masterclass. His name is Eli Daniel Wilson. He's a marketing and digital media professional whose expertise is in digital sales, developing and executing marketing, brand, and digital media strategies for brands from diverse industries, digital transformation leadership, developing content strategies, training, and driving business growth through digital. He's currently the Director of Sales and Strategy at Pulse Ghana. He leads the team's efforts across Ghana, maintaining and building new relationships with corporate partners and directing campaign strategies. He's a seasoned marketing, sales, and strategy professional, having worked on some of the biggest brands around the continent, creating and executing campaigns for them as well. He was previously the group head of digital media innovation at Global Media Alliance and team lead at Wipro. With nearly 10 years experience in the industry, he has led teams to manage and execute campaigns for both local and international brands such as Bank of Ghana, Jameson, AudioMac, Mest Africa, USAID, UNDP, Johnny Walker, DSTV, Bailey's, Huawei, Casapreco, Samsung, Talo, EcoBank, Japan Motors, and there's much more. So Eli, we want to say welcome, and we can't wait to see what you have for us. All right, Eli, please do us the honors.
Thank you, Winnie. Thank you. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm always happy to take sessions like this because besides doing it, I totally enjoy sharing what I do as well. So I'll typically come with the presentation to guide my thoughts, but please feel free to drop your questions in the chat so that I could address them. And hopefully you can leave with something that you can apply to your day-to-day. In preparing this, I thought of, because it says e-commerce, and I know a lot of people would assume typically e-commerce would mean a Jumia or a Gigi or a Zubu shop, but anybody who does any business online can use strategies that can boost sales. So if you run any business, any brand, any service-based operation on Instagram, for instance, you would find a lot of value in how you can boost your sales, boost visibility as a brand to ensure you are getting the most out of your efforts, either on IG, Facebook, or if you indeed have invested in a website platform for e-commerce. So that being said, I'm just going to jump in at this point. And I like to start with some stats and some mythbusters just to get some information out of the way. There are some untruths that have been accepted. And I'm sure anybody who starts to open a business online, you've probably been told it's a cheaper way of doing things, it's easier. And then you start and then you realize you're posting, nobody's minding you, you're not getting the sales like you expected, and you're wondering what's going on. That's the reality of e-commerce. So we'll dive into that. So I'll start with some of the stats that I came with. I like to say, let's get some truths and untruths out of the way, and then we can dive into the strategies that would actually work, tried and tested, and also some of the ones that I have done with some clients that have worked. And sometimes the digital ecosystem is it changes so fast, it's very dynamic. So some of the strategies I applied to some of my clients 5 years ago, 10 years ago, are not even viable in today's market. So it's definitely a learning process, and day by day, the ideas and strategies change. It is also because the consumers we are speaking to today are very nomadic. You would think your audience are on Instagram, but they are probably there for a few minutes, and then they jump off to TikTok, and then they jump off to Twitter. I can tell you the youth of Ghana today have spent a lot of time on Twitter because of what's going on between Yvonne Nelson and Sarkodie. So as a brand, you are probably asking yourself, what are the eyeballs today, and how can I take advantage of all those eyeballs to ensure my business is not losing out in this? And I always have to throw in the caveat that it is not every conversation you have to butt in as a brand. I think very recently, in fact, when Yvonne Nelson launched her book, I've seen some brands like, I don't know if you guys have seen it around, DKT, the contraceptive brand. They made a very insensitive post. And I've been in that position before where the conversation is so hot and you feel like my brand needs to take advantage of all the buzz, and then you butt in and then you miss. So there's also a lot of technique and caution that needs to be exercised when you're trying to take advantage of where the eyeballs are. So we will look into that and see how we can develop content strategies that would make sure your brand is protected. It is truly not worth it when you enter and you don't enter right, and then you get a lot of backlash. So we can also see how we can get it right most of the time. A lot of people will tell you when you start a business online, create an account on social media, open it everywhere, start getting social engagement, and then you start seeing the results for your brand. Well, if anybody here has tried it, I'm sure you testify to the fact that it is not easy as it's been said, that you start a business, oh, maybe an Instagram account, name it after your brand, and then the followers and the business will come. The harsh reality is it is not that straightforward in that the current attention span of the audience is less than 3 seconds, which means your brand is an atom out of all the things that could possibly grab any internet user's attention today. So the question is, how do I get them to look my way versus look at my competitor or spend attention elsewhere? There's this theory, and it's very fascinating. I like to share it. If you wake up every day, you go to work, you go about your days, but there are a lot of fine details, even in your room, even on your route to work, that you ignore because your mind doesn't find repetitive things interesting. Your mind only draws attention to what is different, what is new. That is why when something is new, everybody goes to it after a moment. They just move on. It's because what's really fascinating and interesting for the mind is what is new, what is different. So that means if you're going to capture the attention of people whose attention is being demanded by, never mind, Ghana Life is demanding so much from people every day. Even their job is demanding. They pick up their phone. A lot of apps are demanding their attention, a lot of notifications, a lot of WhatsApp messages are coming in, calls are coming in. How do you penetrate all these attention to get to a point where your brand is what they are thinking about when they want to do business or do service? That's the underlying thinking when, myself and my team, when we sit together to put together strategies, it is how do we cut through the noise? Because we understand everyday user your attention is being demanded by a lot of ads, a lot of, interesting things on the internet. So how do we cut across to get to be the top of mind brand? So those are the things we'll discuss. So one thing that people typically would say, and I'm here to tell you it's not true, is that if you get high social engagement, it is going to increase your sales for your brand. I've gotten people come for consultancy where they expect that when I post, I get a lot of likes, I get a lot of engagement, but nobody slides in my DM to make an order. That's usually shocking to people because you expect that people are commenting on your stuff, it should be equal to the number of sales you get, but that is not the reality because people's purchase intent is driven by different factors and not just the excitement of what you're posting on social. So you would find that people are typically engaging with you and they're not engaging with you because they want to do business with you, because you're, again, tapping into the trend. You've said something funny and they are over it, but they didn't recognize you as somebody they will come back to do business with. And this is new information also because for instance, when I started my career, say 10 years ago, this wasn't a stat that would hold true because back then the platforms were very generous with brand reach. They were very generous with engagement. So you'd find that a single post, even without an ad push, could give you a lot of value to the point where it would convert to a good amount of sales lift and convert to sales, in fact. But now, because of how the attention span has really reduced and there's just so much influx of content today than it ever has been in the entire history of internet, people's intent has changed. So it is no longer equal to the fact that I double tapped your image would be equal to I would do business with you. There needs to be more. There needs to be further engagement. And those are some of the strategies we will discuss when we get to the latter part of this presentation. So I want you to understand this is data from Meta. So it was a report that they refused to share. So I managed to get screenshots just so I can show you guys. So social engagement has no correlation with sales lift and brand awareness growth. So now you have to start thinking beyond social and just don't get too excited when you get 100 likes. Understand it is not equal to you getting a good sales lift for whatever you're selling on digital. The other part is engagement does not drive business impact. 90% of people who viewed ads and then bought did not click. So typically when we run ads, sometimes, we look at the metrics and we typically call them vanity metrics, because if you're an ad specialist or you're an agency and you're sending your reports to clients, you may be misled to be excited about 10,000 clicks, 1 million impressions, click-through rates high, 10%, and you're like, yeah, I had a good, ad campaign. But if the client indeed is looking for sales, it would then be misleading to think all those numbers would equate to, 1 million people, my ad was served 1 million times. You can show them the placement of the ads on top websites, but they will tell you none of it's converted. So I haven't seen a boost in my sales. So now we armed with this knowledge, we let people understand that the engagement does not necessarily drive business impact. Why? Because people may engage, but they are not engaging to buy from you. Like it said, 90% of people who have viewed ads may not even click on the ad. So you might get a good click-through rate, good engagement, but some people who have even viewed the ad, they just register it and later on might engage you on WhatsApp or somewhere else, which might not be directly from the platform you're running the ad. So we try to make people understand that, your audience are moving different now. So you need to get to a point where you understand how their purchase intent is driven. And then you can use those touch points to move them to action, which is do business and purchase from you. The other insight that I wanted to also share was clicks aren't a good proxy for brand results. There's really no significant correlation between a click-through rate, which is if you run an ad and you get a lot of clicks, it has been found that there's no correlation, especially a direct correlation, to show that this number of clicks meant that the brand is building equity amongst the audience. And to even find that the correlation is less than 1%, that will tell you that you are dealing with two different beasts here. One beast is perhaps you just want to drive awareness and top of mind awareness. You could achieve that with your ad campaign or your social efforts. But if indeed you want to drive people to take an action to make sales and move them to drive conversion, then you're fighting a different beast here, and your strategy also needs to be tweaked accordingly to be able to make sure you are moving someone to buy from you. There's an example I always give where, and this is a simple, you're selling, this is a simple trick. If you're naming your Instagram account or your social account based on how people discover brands they want to do business with, it is always good to put like a category name in the name. For instance, I was looking to buy fruits the other day randomly on Instagram. So I just searched, fruits, just to find initial accounts I could, engage and see where I could get whoever is closest to me. Now, the ones that came up were the ones that had fruits in their name. So if your brand name is tables and chairs, but you sell fruits, you probably wouldn't be discovered in such a search. That is how people typically would look for businesses or services they want to do or buy something from. If somebody wants to buy shoes and they didn't have a particular page they already have been buying from, the natural behavior is that you just go search for what you're looking for on IG or on Facebook. Mind you, this is Google, this is social search. So they just put the name in there and the platform will rank it based on keywords, which would be words that are either in your name or in your bio. And that should make sense immediately for whoever is searching. So if you use that as a simple trick to put whatever you're selling, if you're a nutritionist or you sell shoes, you're into clothes, thrifting, capture that keyword that people will typically look for in your name. Then you would be opening yourself up to be discovered by new users. So I found this page. I was able to try them out because I needed the fruits almost immediately. They delivered the fruits, and to date, I still haven't been engaged by that page. They sold to me. I was happy with the product. It was fruits. It was fresh. I didn't have too much problems with it. You sold to me, and if you consider the lifetime value of a customer, say in my case, it's fruits. It's something I would need again. It's something you would buy again and again. It's not a goods that you buy that you wouldn't need for a year or two. It's something you would consume immediately, and then you need it either weekly or monthly. So if you consider the lifetime value of a customer like myself, you would realize that serving me more content on your page And even me, I didn't follow that page. I just did transaction and left. Serving me content on that page may not be speaking to me. What would make sense in terms of driving sales would be to ensure that you revert back to me, because we spoke on WhatsApp, and then later on I called for delivery. So if you have these 2 touch points with me, if you continue to engage me, there's a very high chance that you get repeat business from me, either weekly, either monthly. Selling fruit to somebody who has already bought fruit from you, it's easy because it's a good that people know they need. It's something nourishing. So why didn't they continue, pursue me down the funnel so that I become a repeat customer? So you later on find that these same people would complain that their social media efforts are not driving results, but they didn't follow through. It gave you a result of being discovered by me, a new customer. But after you had me in your basket, you haven't continued to engage me for repeat business. And it's easier to get me to spend with you again than it is to find someone new where you're going back into the Red Sea, competing with other food sellers, trying to get the same person to buy. It's more difficult versus he's bought from you, engage him further, either sending me nuggets on fruit and its importance. I may find it annoying, but at least I'll keep you top of mind if I need fruits again. So if you use that strategy of, keeping the relationship, building the relationship beyond the first transaction, you would be positioning your business for repeat business. And repeat business will bring you more money than the effort of, the cost of acquiring a new customer. So I typically try to advise, especially SMEs, that if you put a lot of effort into retention, you would be building a long-lasting, a more sustainable revenue for your business than spending a lot of efforts trying to acquire new customers. A lot of people have built baskets as opposed to building, buckets that would hold water. They have built baskets. Customers come, they just come and pass through their hands and go. And that's a lot of money being left on the table. So that's one nugget, perhaps. If you're running any business online, please be a bit more obsessed about retention and about acquisition. One thing that I don't know if you can show by hand. Winnie, can you please mute everyone? Okay, thanks.
Yes,
if you can show thumbs up if you've ever run an ad on any social media platform. It could be Facebook, it could be Instagram. LinkedIn is a bit complicated, but if you have, I'll be really impressed. Or YouTube ad, Google ads. Please just show by thumbs up, react if you've run any ad before. Just want to get a sense of the group. Have you run an ad? If it's a simple boost on IG or a simple boost on Facebook. Okay, so okay, did I see one?
Yes. Selma has.
Yes.
Abigail.
Yes.
Noel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, a few people have run ads. Now, I say this sometimes not to spite people, but if you run an ad and you click boost reach after you've made a post, you're literally giving money to the platforms and they'll take it. They'll gladly take it. An advanced way of doing ads would be to go to Ad Manager, where you have more capabilities of targeting your audience, reformatting your ad format and making sure you are getting the most out of each dollar you spend. Now, when you're setting up your ad as well, you would have to choose your objective, which could either be choosing for impressions, reach, awareness, engagement, leads, conversion, website traffic. There are a lot of options you could select, right? So what we've also observed, and this was very evident in the report also, was a higher reach campaign has better business impact. There's this big allure to, choose conversion, choose website traffic, choose engagement as the objective. And those are great depending on the purpose. But if you look at the insight that came out from all the types of ads that have been run, higher reach campaigns, a campaign that is run for reach has a higher and a better business impact. So the stats that said was 75% of sales observed across campaign were driven by top quartile of campaigns that had higher reach. So when you run an ad, it will tell you how many people were reached by the ad. It will also tell you how many people out of the people that were reached engaged with the ad. So you begin to draw insights from all these numbers. And the insight here is that the ads that have the most reach, that means the ad was running crazy. It was serving the ad to the most number of people that could see it. So the ad was literally playing the numbers game. How many people can I show my business to? So you run with that objective, which is I want to show my ad to as many people as I could, and then trust that my copy, my image, my message would strike them enough to take an action, which has been counterintuitive to what we've known in the past, which was if I'm running an ad and I want sales, I would definitely choose a lead campaign and just make sure I only pay for lead, cost per lead, right? Or I would just go for engagements. I already post and I get numbers, but people don't comment. So let me run the ad for engagement. Great. But what we've learned now, also, I mentioned that things are really, really changing and they're changing fast. When you run ads for higher reach, what that means is you've shown your ad to a big pool of people now, and now the chances of you reaching your target group, the chances of you having people actually interested in your business talk back to you are higher, and that has shown to give a better business impact. So this was also a learning from the last Meta reports that came out, and what I also do is to share this presentation so that people can deep dive afterwards. In case they have any questions, they could share later as well. So if you've run ads, those who raised your hands, I'll be happy if you could also try, maybe going forward in the second half of the year, try and run ads with the objective of reach and see how that compares to, the previous objectives you may have run for your business. One testimony that came out was L'Oreal on Facebook. Their number one driver of ROI when they run ads is when they run an ad that has a high reach, they get more offline sales, which was very, very insightful. So if you run an ad that enough people see it, those who really want to use the product or service would indeed take the next step of action to either transact or, walk into the shop to do business with you. If you've been on social media long enough, you would notice some things. I always tell my team that you can't be a great community manager if you're not actively on social media, because some of the things you don't learn it on Udemy, you don't learn it anywhere, you don't learn it on YouTube. You have to be in the game to learn it. So an instance is, if you've noticed now, subtitles are important for your real videos or your short form videos. Why? Because you'd find that people are consuming the content in places that they can't even listen to the sound, but they still want to consume the content. I sit in meetings and I see people's eyes glued on their phones. They're on IG. They can't play the sound, but they're still on IG. So if you have a video that has a subtitle, you would know that, okay, your message is still getting to that person in a meeting, that person commuting in a public transport, but can't listen to the audio to disturb the next person, but they are still consuming the content. You'll notice that you get more value for that content than you would if you just didn't add a subtitle. So there are times people would skip over a video because it didn't have subtitle, and therefore I can't consume it now, I'll consume it later, but later never happens. And then you'd also notice things are moving really fast. Things are moving really fast on the timeline now. So times again, you would see somebody managing Twitter, a brand Twitter account, they post once a day and then they go. They come back 2 days later to post one and then they go. I'm like, who are you speaking to? Because this morning, for instance, the timeline was moving crazy. There's just so much going on that if you posted once, you would be lost in the conversation. Nobody's going to check for you. So you need to be strategic in that content. Either you post when you find a conversation relevant to what is already being spoken about. You tap into the hashtag or the keyword, you get all the visibility you want, or you draw a content calendar that would have timeless content that, regardless of what conversation is happening, would be relevant. And examples of such content would be how to use a product, or information about any information about your business would be a timeless content. So another example of a timely content a brand should take advantage of is, for instance, today's Eid. And today I made a discovery today. I've noticed too many brands have my number. I noticed it today because the number of Eid Mubarak I've received from brands, even more than I've received from people, it just tells me that too much of my information is out there. But that also impresses me on the other hand, which means brands are now doing the basics, which is you do not miss out on days like this. So if you're here running a small business, And I know, and I hate it when people say, I run a small business, so I can't do ABC. Believe me, digital is such a level playing ground. You don't have to be as big as MTN before you can send SMS blasts to your customers. You don't need to be as big as Amazon before you can send email to your customers. You don't need to be that big. There are free tools. You can use SMS, you can use Nalo solutions to send an SMS blast, which the last time I used, they cost me 0.03 cedis. It's less than like a 1/3 of 10 pesos. It's nothing. And if you have a customer base of 1,000, let me even do the math for you. If you had a customer base of 1,000 people who have done business with you over the years, and you wanted to send them Eid Mubarak today, it would have cost you 30 cedis to do that. Now, what that 30 cedis would do for building relationship between the customer and your business is it would only increase the customer lifetime value, which is only because you sent me that message. Now I have top of mind that if I want to choose, I remember the brand that sent me Eid Mubarak or Happy Weekend or Happy Holiday, whatever relevant holiday. It builds top of mind awareness and it builds their relationship as well. So you do not need to be a conglomerate or a huge business before you can start checking some of these boxes. So I always advise this. Continuously engage your customers. Do not leave it to just social media, and always lean towards getting data. If anybody made an inquiry with you, try and navigate the conversation to WhatsApp. Why? Because if you have a very strategized or a very well set up WhatsApp business, you will then realize you're building a very good database on your customers. And that could lead to further engagement. And that could lead to the point I made earlier about being more focused on retention than acquisition, because retention has more ROI for your a second or two. But if you were a brand, what that would also mean is people are scrolling past your content that fast. So if you spent a lot of hours developing that reel that you promise is a banger, like, oh, this is so good, and then you drop it and people spend a second on it, that could be heartbreaking. It wouldn't land. So you need to create content that would be striking in the first few seconds. So the thumbnail you use is also very important to ensure that somebody sees and it's attractive enough for them to get onto your page to see what more you have. But this is the battle we've been fighting, which is why digital marketing is becoming more relevant than ever. I also like to share this information where I have a rule that definitely did not exist a decade or two ago. A digital marketing rule wasn't a rule that was commonplace 15 years ago. You couldn't tell your parents you wanted to become an online marketer. What does that mean? Where would you sit? I mean, now parents are now navigating the new knowledge of working remotely. They're like, why are you not going to work? But you're getting paid from Latvia. What do? It's new. It's a new place, and digital marketing is being demanded more than ever because of stats like this. So somebody employing you to do digital marketing wants to know, how can you make me win with an audience that swipes at the pace of 1.7 seconds or at the pace of 2.5 seconds on desktop? How can you create content for me? How can you strategize my message so that it will drive those eyeballs to my brand, and then I can convert them into sales and other opportunities that my business is offering? So this is why digital marketing, if anybody's looking for, if you're looking for a new career to pursue that's going to pay you really, really well, consider digital marketing, because the demand for the talent and the demand for digital marketing is more than ever required for your business to thrive online. Again, I see people, passing the job to interns, and almost always they come back to agency. It didn't work as well as they would have expected. So definitely, if you wanted to explore a career in digital marketing, I would definitely recommend it, because the demand is ridiculous at the moment, and it's only going to get higher with how fast growing digital is, especially in Ghana. So like I mentioned, and this is just a comparative analysis, as it turns out, and we are really, really losing the fight against a goldfish. It's almost embarrassing. So in the year 2000, attention span was 12 seconds, which was decent. You could pass a message on in 12 seconds. I mean, a YouTube ad is 5 seconds. You could get the message across. 2013, it shut down to 8 seconds. So now we started losing the fight against goldfish attention span. And as we speak now, and if you know any Gen Z, you can attest to this. It's almost impossible to keep their attention for this long. So people are consuming content at the pace of 2.8 seconds. So if you're on digital, just like you've probably been told, and like I mentioned, to clear some of the untruths, oh, create an account, put your contents there, or you're going to start selling, you'll be the next big business. It's not going to go as easy as people like to say. It would require intentional effort. It would require a clear content marketing strategy. It would require some investment either in talent or in promoting your content to make sure your content is landing where it's supposed to land. It would require a lot more expertise than people would naturally require, and especially time. It requires time to win. So this is the group we are trying to win. A lot of the brands, a lot of the briefs we receive lately, especially the ones we get for campaigns that want to recruit Gen Z. A lot of brands want to recruit and win with Gen Zs, from finance, from FMCG. A lot of strategies we've been working on lately are strategies on how to win with Gen Z, because as any brand, you'd want to recruit the new generation onto your brand. People would say they don't have the money to spend, but they would tomorrow. So it's best to win with them, build the equity with them now, so that when they do grow into a higher income bracket, they then would have had some affinity with your brand, and then they will continue to do business with you. So this is the landscape now. Yes, we still want to win with millennials. We still want to win with the 40 plus and the 50 plus, but a lot of brands are trying hard to crack Gen Zs. And if you look at the breakdown of the digital first more than millennials. You know how millennials used to laugh at the generation before that, they were BBC. Now Gen Zs are also going to start laughing at millennials, because with the advent of new technology, that's these years now, when metaverse becomes regular, when augmented reality becomes an everyday lingo, you will now be looking for your niece to come and explain where you're heading. So brace yourselves. Unless you're a learner, you will be fine. So just some tips on how to get it right. As I've spoken about how things are changing quickly, it's always important to showcase your brand very, very early and often on the timeline. Find the balance between the message and time. A lot of people would point to, is it Bolt? I think it's Yango. Yango really drummed that message into our heads with 5 seconds on YouTube. So it's possible, but your copywriting has to be very straight to the point of getting a message across in 5 seconds or less, because you've seen the attention span now. And every moment is a chance to capture attention. Like I mentioned, you could, part of getting digital right is also intuition, to be able to land the message given the context is one that can be taught. It comes with a bit of creativity. It comes with a lot of nuance and sometimes experience to just get it. But always look out for moments where you can land, message with your audience, given where their attention is at moments. Like I also mentioned, design for sound off, but delight with sound on, which is, if the sound wasn't on, your content, if the sound wasn't on, people should be able to still get the message, either in subtitles or clear, copies on the image or video for people to get the message, because that is how people are consuming content now. And then also frame your content. Reels work. They work really, really well. So make sure you're doing long form vertical content. Make sure you're also doing short form content, because that is how people are consuming the content. And when you go on Facebook, it's a different place. So you probably should also explore some 16:9 format content. Basically understand the platforms and what content formats would work best there as well. And then play more, get out of your comfort zone. This I like. brands sometimes are a bit too uptight. The ones that win show personality. And it's also interesting because you could see a brand has personality in the year 2022. When the year 2023, it's like the brand has lost personality. Sometimes I've observed it's because either they've changed agency, they've changed their account manager, and they don't have a clear roadmap for their content and their messaging. So it's basically the account takes the persona of whoever is behind it. For brand continuity, that's not great. That means you don't have a long-term strategy. But if you have a clear strategy with your clear content pillars, this is what we talk about. These are the things that resonate with our audience. Whoever takes charge of the account would be guided by these, and they'll be able to still keep the personality of the brand going. If not, you'll be very reliant on your community manager's personality. You would have an awesome social, awesome digital presence today. Tomorrow you don't, because you've changed your resource person. So these are some of the nuggets to keep in mind when you're crafting your digital strategies for e-commerce. Again, e-commerce, personal branding, all of these ideas would work for you. So this I'll try not to bore anybody, but for those who raised your hands on running ads, drawing a proper media plan, you can categorize it into two sections, which is you create demand with the ad, and then you convert that demand into, actionable transactions. So for the sake of time, I'll share this deck so that you look at it, and then you can, if you have any questions, you can shoot it over. But clear guidelines on how to get it right with the buying topic, the buying tool, the objective, the ad placement, the format, the targeting, and the KPIs. Also, how to get it right also is to align your business, your marketing, your comms, your goals with your agency, your Facebook team, your one-man team, your freelance, whoever it is. There needs to be that clear alignment. It breaks my heart when you go on the website, you see a different story. You go onto the social, it's a whole new look and feel, different messaging. You text them on WhatsApp, it's a different person. You call them, it's a different human being. There's no continuity in all the channels that they're trying to talk to the customers. And I spoke about this, I think last year at Ghana Digital Innovation Week, and the whole point of that topic was omni-channel, best in class, which is, it's a hallelujah if any brand could offer us that experience, right? Say my bank is ABSA, and if I text ABSA on their chatbots, it knows who I am, which is great because I'm chatting the chatbots through the app. Okay, great. However, the other day, let's say the app wasn't working. I decided to speak to my bank again via their WhatsApp chat. And then it's asking me basic questions about who I am, what I do. Meanwhile, I'm texting you from the same number. So I don't have to go to the entire KYC before we continue the conversation from what we started in the chatbot. Or another time, I pick up the phone to call with my number again. And then my bank asks, like, who are you? You have to verify who you are, taking me through the entire KYC, which understandably would be for security reasons. But where does the continuity come in? Which is, why do I have to still go through the entire process if I'm talking to the same person from a different channel? It's because all the channels are not integrated in a way that would offer an omni-channel experience. So a great way to do this as an e-commerce platform is to get to a place where you have enough information on your customers. If they were speaking to you from IG, or they were speaking to you from their WhatsApp, or they're speaking to you from any of your Facebook, any of your social channels, or even if they pick up the phone to call you, by three identification touch points, you already know who they are, and you can continue the conversation from wherever they stop at. As a consumer, that experience would be awesome, to say the least. It would be awesome because now it not only does it build the relationship. After all, when I'm speaking to my friends or people I know, I don't have to introduce myself every time. The conversation is continuous. Now, if you're able to give customers that kind of experience, the amount of equity and loyalty you would have with them would be almost unbreakable. They would now go to another brand because they would feel like, you know me, I know you, let's do business. So omni-channel is one thing I would hope, and I pray, I try to advise it in very little ways that I can, where brands would be able to offer that experience to customers. I hear a lot of complaints about customer service in Ghana. If anybody cracks omni-channel as a way of, giving us that best-in-class customer experience, they would really stand out. So again, it's something we can do in our little ways, which would be making sure that when a customer reaches out to you, you try to get enough information about them. So if Kofi reaches out to you via your WhatsApp business, Kofi may be reaching out to you tomorrow on Facebook. Don't let Kofi feel like you are still a new person. Kofi should feel like, hey, hi. So yes, what was feedback from the last challenge you had? That would automatically make Kofi feel comfortable. And that is how you build the relationship that would lead to retention and a longer customer lifetime value and even a higher customer lifetime value. So for customer service, a lot of it that we see in this country, it leaves a lot of room to be desired. Like there's so much more we deserve as Ghanaians. There's so much more we deserve. And there's so much more the brands could do to improve customer experience for, our day-to-day services. So this also, not to go deep into this, but typically you'd want to run your audience through this phase as an e-commerce business. Anybody doing business online, you should know how to drive the top of mind. Very, very key. Because like I mentioned, you're not the only one trying to grab anybody's attention in today's digital world. Everybody's trying to get the attention. If you try browsing on any website, even to read an article, you'd be amazed if you started paying attention to it, the number of ads you are being served. So put yourself in the shoes of your customers or your consumers. Imagine the number of times ads are being served to them, and you are one of those ads. So how do you cut through all of those noise, right? So it's something you need to think about. And what really helps also is to put yourself in the shoes of your customers when you're trying to offer any experience or any ad or any product. If you are the one being spoken to, would this particular message land with you? So take your customers through the awareness phase, generate the awareness about your unique selling point or product. Actually, I'll be happy if at the end of this session, one person offered their brand for us to do a case study, and that we can do a free consultancy here. And then you take them through consideration, and then conversion is the holy grail where they begin to buy from you, transact with you, begin to recommend you to their circles. At that point, you're winning as a brand. So that's by way of, so the next part, I'll just quickly run through 10 steps of things you could do to level up your game if you're doing anything online. Some of it you could even apply for your personal brand. And that's one thing a lot of people just leave to, they just leave it to exist on its own, but you shouldn't. In the digital world now, you should absolutely pay attention to your digital footprint. And that would definitely be a game changer for you personally. If you're somebody who is building a career, definitely you would realize that when you get to a certain point, your personal branding would get in the room before you, and that could either seal the deal or offer your next big job. So personal branding is one thing I always advise, that some of these strategies, feel free to apply them on a personal level and get all that value that the digital economy offers. Make sure you do not miss out on it. So I'm just going to go straight into it. We can talk about the questions at the end of it. I realize it's almost 6 o'clock, so I'll try and speed up at this point. So I themed this part into 10 questions, and it's based on questions I typically get from people running small businesses online, or in fact, some of my clients, they need answers to some of these things. So I thought this way would be best to shape the presentation. So people still ask if social media is overrated. If, can I do my marketing without social media? Just today's, what's today? Today's Wednesday. Well, it feels like a Sunday. Today's Wednesday. Last Thursday, yes. In fact, last Friday, Jumia held a Twitter space on a similar topic on the impact of e-commerce in the economy and the future of e-commerce. And one of the questions that came up was, is digital marketing relevant for any e-commerce platform? And goes without saying, I mean, your initial audience of, if you're doing business online, you are definitely not selling to somebody who doesn't have internet. You are selling to somebody who already has access to internet. So that already brings to bear the addressable market. So that means you cannot do without digital marketing. Now, digital marketing is a broad term, which also encapsulates social media. So definitely you can't do your e-commerce business without having a good social media strategy in place, or more broadly speaking, a great digital marketing strategy in place. So anytime I ask the question, is this still relevant or is it played out now? No, it's not played out, but just that now it requires more expertise than it did early on when social media came on, into play. Early on, anybody could just post online and you get 10,000 reach, a lot of people commenting on it. Now you could even see it on your own personal social media. Your engagement has dropped, your reach has dropped because the platforms are also pushing back. Or if reach was a tab, they are closing the tab small. Why? Because they have to monetize it to also make money. That being said, you need expertise or you need intentional strategies on how to navigate these platforms, and they are changing policies and they are changing ranks and they are changing algorithms. Even for us as digital marketers, to every day we have to go learn, we have to take new courses because they keep changing the algorithm on how you can rank content. I'll give you an example. I'm sure you've observed on your Instagram page now that you can see content that is 3 days old, following a content that was saved 2 minutes ago, followed by another content that was 1 day ago, followed by a week old content. If you've observed that, it is not a problem. It is just the update of the new algorithm, which means that now the platform will serve you on your timeline content they deem is relevant to you. So somebody may have posted a week ago, you may have missed it, but Instagram will say, you know what, based on what you've been liking in the past, we still think this content is going to be great for you. So they'll make you log onto your Instagram, they'll bring you back that 1 week content. And people do not realize it, but indeed, it does land because the platform has so much data on you based on the posts you've been liking in the past, the kind of accounts you comment on. If you even watch your stories, if you have 1,000 people you're following and you probably only watch 10 people's stories, they'll begin to push the ones you don't watch to the back. They'll only start giving you the ones you watch, because the platform also needs you to be continuously engaged on there. So the algorithm keeps changing. So definitely you need to keep learning about the platform. And then as a brand, you know how to take advantage of it. If not, you'll probably be applying 3-year-old strategies that wouldn't land today. So back in the day, in this presentation, I'll probably be talking to you about these are the best times to post. It is good to post at 7 a.m. and it is great to post at 12 p.m. and then 5 p.m. And I'll probably go down that road to justify it. Not anymore. Now you can post, it's practically irrelevant now because you can post at any time and the platform would serve it based on whether they think it's relevant. So some content can stay on the timeline for a week, while others, they come and then they go because it's probably not good content as per the algorithm. So things are changing, but is social media still relevant? 100%. 100%. Brands that are getting it right are getting the most value. People are building personal brands on there. People are making money on there. People have built businesses on social media, and it is viable. So the only thing I would say is it requires more learning today than it did before. So if you really want to get it right, especially if you want to do it on your own, you need to learn a lot of things. You need to learn a lot of tools. I'll share some of them in some of the points I'm going to make later on. So I'll share this for you to look at the numbers, but the numbers are just to tell you that, yes, indeed, it is as relevant as it ever has been for your e-commerce business. And why more than ever your e-commerce business needs an active social media and digital presence? It drives the visibility you want. Sometimes we try to do this comparative analysis where it's either you take the social media route or I can send you a media plan for a TV and radio ad and see how much it would cost you, or perhaps putting up a billboard for 3 months. So if you do the comparative analysis, you'd see that for my bottom line, I could get more value by going digital with my marketing. And then maybe when I scale up, I could then bring in traditional and outdoor marketing. So definitely for an e-commerce business, given your initial audience are internet users, you cannot do without digital and social media. So it's good for visibility. It's good to build your brand on there. It is good for real-time support, which we all happily vent to our brands DMs when we have issues. It's because there's somebody who has been employed at the back to ensure that your message is well received as well. And for advanced tactics, you are able to drive leads. Again, to the fruit example I gave you, notice that that person generated a lead just by existing on social, literally just by existing on there. I was able to discover them, to do business with them. If they're able to promote themselves even more, it would lead to more leads that would lead to sales. And for reputation management, I know on a smaller scale, people take it for granted, but on a grander scale, for some of our brands, we do social listening every day, every minute. If you mentioned any of the brands I manage today, it will pop up on a dashboard that we are monitoring just to avoid crisis before it gets out of hand. You can do it in your small ways. There are tools you can use like Hootsuite, TweetDeck. You can track Google Alerts, for instance. You could track all of the keywords around your brand, around your name even, so that anytime it's mentioned, you know what's happening. Just make sure you are being armed by information on the internet and don't let anything happen before it's too late. So that's also something that you should take full advantage of if you run any business online. Do you need to be everywhere? This question, I wouldn't even stress too much on it because it's usually an issue of capacity. It's usually an issue of if you have the time for it. It's also an issue of, are you able to manage all these platforms if indeed you needed to be everywhere? But typically, you don't need to be everywhere. If you take your time to understand the audience across, especially in Ghana, across the different platforms, you know where your audience play. If you run a B2B business, you have a lot of luck on LinkedIn and on Facebook. If you run a business that's heavily driven by visuals, you would be served really, really well on Instagram. And if you drive a conversational business or something that's youth-based, Instagram and Twitter will serve you a lot of good, as well as Snapchat. So learn and know about the platforms and don't feel pressured or the need to be on all the platforms. There are businesses that are thriving on Instagram and Instagram only. It does have its risk factors, but it is working. And it's also suited to their capacity at whatever stage that they are. Second question I get also, the fourth question I get also is the new darling of marketers. Everybody's throwing the words around now, influencers, content creators. They keep asking, how much budget do I need for an influencer today? Is it important? What's the ROI in me investing in, an influencer for my e-commerce business? See, you can't play, and you don't need to play with the big boys, which is carving out a huge chunk of your marketing budget, handing it to somebody to shout about your business. It might not, I would probably never recommend that for a small business. What I would recommend is to start winning with your customers, convert them into happy clients, let them do the talking for you, take advantage of your immediate circle, let them also share. There's this strategy we executed once with an internal campaign for one of our clients. And what we did was the client had a staff strength of about 200 people. So before we started the campaign, we did a staff training just to equip everybody on how to do simple sharing on social. If you didn't have an account, we pay for you. And also how to share on WhatsApp, basic knowledge. So what then happened was, before we broke comms on the campaign, we would share the content with the 200 staff and make sure everybody shares everywhere. We started tracking to see the numbers behind it. You wouldn't believe the numbers, because think about it. If 200 people, and averagely each person has 500 followers on each platform, or let me say 1,000. If you combine WhatsApp status, if you combine Facebook, if you combine Instagram, average person might pull in 1,000 eyeballs for you. So that means by just using the staff strength organically, the brand was reaching above of 200, was getting 200,000 reach off of staff strength alone. That is an advantage people do not take off, especially big companies. And then, instead of getting plucking the low-hanging fruit, they go big. And sometimes there's a big disconnect between the brand and the influencer. So for small businesses, I always advise, go small, make your clients your advocates. If they're happy, they'll happily share it everywhere for you. Also get them to record and do testimonials for you, goes a really, really long way. Also get your friends and family to also support the business if it's a small business, to start from there. And then if you start making some good returns on your business, you can start investing in really, really niched influencers or niche content creators, which is, if you sell shoes or you sell clothes, find someone who already has a following where, or somebody already creates content for clothes and shoes, somebody who's already admired for these things. If you find somebody like that and they recommend a shoe, you will get the traffic. But if you go for bloggers who Today they are posting about this celebrity, tomorrow they are posting about news, they're posting about music. It's quite random what they post. You get lost in such a post. So then if you want to really dabble into influencer marketing, you need to start with a very, very niched group of people who are, and don't be obsessed with numbers. You could find somebody with 10,000 followers who do the magic for you that 100,000 wouldn't do. So pay attention to the followers, pay attention to the people who comment. And if you look at their content and it's a good fit, part with that 2,000 cities, part with that 3,000 cities. It would do so much for your brand because the content they would create, you could also share it on your platform. You could repurpose it and bring it back again onto the timeline. It would do so much for you. And it also adds some level of credibility because you've been endorsed by someone else who's already known in the space. So to answer this question, dabble in it, but baby steps for a small business. Another question I get typically is, do you have a budget? Or how much budget should I have for my marketing? Well, you need some marketing budget. And there's a rule of thumb I pass around. It helps. It's definitely not set in stone, but based on how much aggressively you want to push your marketing, you can reconsider the percentage. But if you wanted to have an idea of where to start, a rule of thumb would be to spend 5% of your total revenue on marketing to maintain your current position. So if you were making 10,000, if you're making 1,000 cities revenue, you should be spending 50 cities on marketing. That's if you just want to maintain where you are. So the question of zero marketing spend, please don't ask that question. You need to invest in your marketing. So if you wanted to play really, really small, you should be playing at 5% of your total revenue. So if you made a revenue of 1,000 cities, you should be able to part with 50 cities. Somebody will say, what can 50 cities do for me? 50 cities divided by the current exchange rate, that's about $4. $4 can push your content to your next customer, right? So I'm talking at a very, very small scale here. $4 can promote your content to your next customer, and that next customer could bet to the next 2 customers. So 5% is better than no marketing investment. So use that as a rule of thumb. But if you're looking to grow and gain a larger market share, you should double that. So that's 10% of your total revenue, which is, if you're making a revenue of 1,000 cities each month, you should be spending 100 cities on marketing. And again, digital is where you can find something to do with 100 cities. No radio is going to give you an LPM or jingle for 100 cities. Definitely no billboard or median signs, and definitely no TV. So where you might get some joy is digital. So definitely use that to also drive your business a step forward. But if you want to go aggressive, especially if you're in retail, consumer products, you're in pharmaceuticals, highly competitive industries, then you should be looking at 20 to 50%. At that point, you want to be a market leader, you want to be a juggernaut, you want to take on competition, you need to invest in your marketing. So if you are playing at 20 to 50%, you can then explore not just social media, you can explore the content creator and influencer marketing I mentioned. You can explore SMS marketing, you can explore email, you can explore, depending on how big the budget is, you can start looking at some offline strategies to support the online efforts. But for an e-commerce business, always lead your marketing with online efforts. So you can start supporting with perhaps making appearances at some relevant industry events to also do an activation, show up, there's just a lot you can do. But if you're looking to take on the industry, you should be looking at investing 20% to 50% of your income, of your revenue as a business into your marketing. Should you get someone to manage your digital marketing for you? This question is also one question I get a lot. Sometimes because after going deep into it, people think it requires, like top level expertise, which it does at some level. But for a lot of entry level, you could get away with a lot of things if you learn the trade on YouTube. YouTube Academy is the best. Highly recommended. You can learn a lot on YouTube, learn a few things from books, and start applying. You learn on the job. You could get away with a lot of things. But if you actually want to level up and take your game to the next level, I would recommend you get an experienced digital marketer who would begin to make sense out of your website traffic, tell you what's your social traffic. In fact, I like analyzing website traffic because it begins to tell you which of your channels are driving the traffic to social. You'd find that nobody's even visiting your website from your Facebook, but you probably spend a lot of efforts there. So the question is, how they circling back to your website? Then you know what to do. It's either to change the call to action or to maybe make your website more bold in your communications. Then you can start tweaking from there. So deep dive into the numbers is where sometimes you need somebody who would make sense of everything. So outsourcing is also an option I recommend, depending on your capacity, depending on how much time you have, depending on just how big you want to go with your digital efforts. But generally, yes, you need the expertise to kill it on digital. But also to offer some hope to maybe you do not have points. The star TikTok manager in my company right now literally just came out of school, and she's been able to grow our TikTok to over 1 million followers, 100% Gen Z. I'm saying this to say it's learnable if you really are driven to, but if you do not have the time and you want to commit to the core of your business and let somebody else worry about it, then I recommend outsourcing. So if you're outsourcing or if you want to do it yourself, there are some tools that would make life a whole lot easier for you, but also just to arm you with the knowledge of what would make people unfollow a brand. This information is good to have it. Even if you're not managing, you can guide your manager, your social manager, your digital manager to do what's right. People don't like too many promotional messages, they tune off. I mentioned that if you tweet once every other day on Twitter, you are speaking to nobody. But indeed, if you tweet too much, you become this overzealous brand, and sometimes it's a turn off for people as well. When you're too quiet, it's also a turn off. So basically, you can't talk too much, you can't talk too little. You need to find a balance and informational relevance. The timeline could be talking about, you know, what's trending today, or typically on the weekend during the football season, you'd find a lot of football conversation, and then somebody will come and say, come and buy my rice cooker. Who cares about your rice cooker right now? We are all venting about Eden Hazard missing a chance, and then you are talking about rice cooker. It's so irrelevant. So you need to, again, to my point of, you need to be in the game to kill it. If your community manager is on the game, they're able to tell you that this is not a good time to post this content. Let's find a better time. And then the use of slang and jargon doesn't fit brand. We see it all the time. Some brands try to, again, take on the persona of whoever is managing the page, and then it becomes very artificial and people quickly unfollow. So when I do share this, please look at the data and be armed by it. Other tools to also help you schedule your content. And this is for those who want to still continue doing things on your own. Hootsuite will serve you really well. TweetDeck will serve you really well. Even though I understand Elon Musk is doing TweetDeck, they might even shut it down. Content creation, Canva is your best friend. Evernote will keep everything you need forever and ever. Copy AI will help you generate copies. ChatGPT in there, InShot, in videos, Picello, Adobe Suite, they are there. They would help you. CRM, one thing that a lot of people don't take advantage of. In my company and my team, we use Zoho a lot. Zoho is how we track the sales process, which you'd find for a business. Sometimes you need the data to tell you why people are not buying. Maybe there's a lot of inquiries, but not a lot of sales. Why are they dropping off? Why are they dropping off? These tools begin to bring you some insights so that you can go back to those people, remarket, retarget, and convert them. So the tools are there. Digital is really exciting because of all the tools you get to play with. So please take advantage of it. Keep learning. They are all available. If you don't know where to start, go to ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT, what tools do I need to make my life easier as a small business owner running online business? It would churn out a whole lot for you. So other things you could do, I think I've touched on, yes, this is another question I get. Optimizing your platform. What are the tactics I can do to increase sales? Well, yeah, running a promotion is fantastic. It works all the time. And there's a bit of science to it. When you're running the promotion, don't run it and run it at a loss. So definitely you should understand if you're running a promo or a discount promo, the almighty buy one, get one free and the lot and the percentage discounts, you should understand that you might take a hit in profit, but do it for a purpose, which is either you're new onto the market, you're looking to penetrate, you want their attention, you want people to try your product out. You could take the hit of the profits, not make a loss, but just take a hit and just sell at the price point that would move the product for people to try it out, to also come into the arena, basically. So you use that strategy intentionally, either to crack into your audience, or get people to look your way for the period because you sell a good product, but nobody's looking your way. Again, it's a really, really choked arena. So how do you get people to look your way? Definitely consider promotion. And for the promotion, you can consider volume discounts where either you buy more, then it gets cheaper as you buy more, or bundle discounts where, product sets cheaper than to buy each item separately. So if you buy 5, and this is a very typical pricing strategy, you buy 5, you can score some 10% discount or 5% discount versus buying it individually. And the very, very famous buy one, get one free is always there for you. Or buy one and get a complimentary product. Use these strategies to cut through the noise. It's not something you should do every day and every now and then. It's something you do strategically to achieve a very specific objective. And then you go back being competitive according to the market's demands and supply. And then also do not miss out on key shopping events. We've already started drafting Black Friday plans. We've shared to some of our clients already. It is coming. It's coming. People are literally saving money to shop on Black Friday. And Black Friday culture in Ghana is really catching on. We've seen it in how much footfall goes into some of our retail clients. So now we are also confident to share Black Friday strategy. So do not be missing out on these things. You could offer an Eid promo today. Do not miss out on Republic Day coming up. Do not miss out on Nkrumah's birthday, back to school. All those are opportune moments to craft your marketing, to cut through the noise, or to stay relevant given what is being discussed. Just make sure you do not miss out on it. Those are like low-hanging fruits, pluck them. And then offer continuity and experience across channels. And this is one thing I mentioned earlier. If you really want to stand out, offer that continuity. And it starts by getting information on your customers and then begin to send them personalized messages, follow-up messages. You get the repeat business. They feel this strong allegiance to you, even you to start to over you, because humans are social creatures. They love these kinds of things. Somebody who cares about them, somebody who checks in on them. So make love to your customers and it will turn into good business for you. So cart abandonment is one thing that you should definitely be worried about if you run, say, a website e-commerce. And the industries that suffer the most in terms of cart abandonment, I think let me go to 2002 as of last year. Retail, 72%. People begin to shop and then they drop off at some point. Fashion also, people, as for fashion, I wasn't surprised at all. People do a lot of window shopping online. They check it out, but no real intentions to buy. They just add it to cart. And hopefully if some money drops, if some loose money come, they'll go in there and go and buy. The Shein shoppers, we've seen you. And then travel. Travel also, I think people do a lot of comparison in terms of travel packages. So that also brings a lot of cart abandonment. Cart abandonment is basically shoppers that do not go through the entire sales process to close the deal. They drop off at some point. So these are the industries that suffer a lot. So to also see what really causes that, sometimes it is a low cost delivery. These are the checkpoints to ensure you are not catching a high cart abandonment. Sometimes people are really interested in buying, they get to checkout points, they see the cost delivery, and then they drop off because it's too high. So if you keep it low, you definitely see a higher completion of transactions. Fast delivery. In fact, I'm guilty of a lot of these things because I ordered something the last time I was ordering on Melcom online, and I think the delivery time wasn't instant. So I just decided to go to another platform to get my appliance. And that's a cart abandonment. I could have easily bought from there if they were offering a faster delivery service. Same-day delivery is definitely a winner. Trackable delivery is a really, really nice to have. I think this is more commonplace with international commerce, but locally, you don't get to track a lot of orders. But if you use Shack Express, I think I've used Shack Express and I see how you can track the riders sometimes, and that's great. So a lot of people also prefer using Bolt and Uber these days just for the purpose of trackability. And then the choice of options, either for payment or for delivery, also goes a long way to ensure a low cart abandonment. And then finally, one thing I advise, this is not a question, so I'm just ending with my takeaway, which is the gold standard. Please be obsessed with retention over acquisition. I'm in sales, so I tell you, I give a lot of attention to my clients who I already have in the bag. You can borrow from the idiom that says, a bird in hand is worth two in the bush. Please, the one in hand, take care of it. It could give you a higher value. It would give you a higher ROI than you going back onto the market, going back to the streets and trying to hawk your service. And came here with a stat to buttress this point, which is from Bain and Company, which says a 5% increase in customer retention can mean a 30% increase in profitability for the company. If you're able to increase your customer retention, which is people do business with you, they stay with you longer, you would increase your profitability 30%. I do not have the opposing statistics, but I can tell you acquisition will give you this amount of ROI. So definitely go back to all the customers you've ever dealt with, make sure they come back to do repeat business. And the understanding here is if you're able to even keep them 5% of those who have done business with you, your profitability will increase by 30%. And the idea here is they would spend repeatedly with you, and the cost of acquisition then would be low. So typically your profits would be how much did I spend to make this sale and the cost of the good minus the margin. So you want to keep the margin as big as you can. So keep the cost of acquisition low and then keep your profit margins high. Retention is the game. And simple tips to keep retention going on: send them messages on SMS, get the data, send them messages on SMS, WhatsApp. Just don't be too annoying, please. You'll get blocked. Email newsletters, share them as well. Once a week, let that email newsletter go. You might think it's being ignored, but if you use a tool like MailChimp or MailerLite, you'll be able to see whoever is opening you'll be able to see the open rates and see the click-through rates, what is being clicked in your email, and then you can use that to improve your email as well. And then customer first touch, create a database right from Facebook, IG, WhatsApp. Create a database. Let people feel like they're talking to their friend when they're talking to you. And you're doing this because you want to build a strong retention program for your customers. And then that would also lead to a lot of cross-selling and upsell to sell people who have already bought from you to buy something else from you, especially if they are satisfied. And also, it's also great to then expand your portfolio to start selling complementary products, which again is good for your business. So it's all wins here if you drive a very strong retention program for your e-commerce business. On that note, I'll take questions and any submissions at this point.
Thank you so much, Ellie. So guys, can you give him some emojis to say how you appreciate this message he sent? Some people put some emojis in the chat. Thank you so much, Ellie. This is great. Thank you. Show him some love in the comment section. Thank you. So please, does anyone have a question for Mr. Wilson? If you have a question, if you can just raise your hand and then unmute yourself. Okay, so you have a question from Akosia. Akosia, please unmute and proceed.
When you got to your 7th question you normally get and you were trying to address it, you have written CRM. I'm sure you may have said what it was, but I didn't get what it was. If you could please explain that. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you for the question. CRM is a customer relationship management tool, and it's how you manage your customers through the entire sales process. So your customers will typically move from discovering you through your awareness or your marketing efforts. And then after they enter the basket, you want to manage the relationship that will take them from that point to the closure, which would be they making a sale and even getting them to become a repeat customer. So CRMs are tools that would help you manage a customer who enters your net from awareness and then consideration. Maybe they're making inquiries at this point. So if you open a typical CRM and you click on a customer, you can see whatever stage they are on, how many inquiries they've made, how many transactions they've made. It will tell you that this customer throughout this entirety has brought you 1 million CDs based on the transactions they've brought you. So you begin to use the CRM to manage your customers. If you wanted to send emails to your customers, you could do it from a CRM. If you wanted to send them an SMS, you could do it from your CRM. You could even make calls from your CRM if you connect it to your cellular. So CRM is basically a tool that would help you, especially when you have a large customer base, to just help you make meaning of all your customers. And it's one tool that every business, well, most businesses use these days. And I'm so glad it's catching on.
We have a question from Penwell. Penwell, if you can kindly.
All right. Thanks for such a lovely, insightful presentation. Anyway, there's something you mentioned. I don't know if I didn't get it properly. You mentioned running ads for reach, right? But then usually the metrics that you have to select is either for profile visits, more messages, website traffic. So I don't know if you could throw more light on that.
Okay. Thank you for that question also. So this is based on the reports that came out this year, that's out of the different types of ads you could run. And like you rightly said, you could run for profile visits, you could run for leads, you could run for engagements, you could run for page likes, page follows, you could run for messages. Out of the lots, the ones that have come out to have a greater business impact, which is long-term, the one that you're able to track, the one that has brought the higher ROI has been the ones that are run for reach, which means you run the ad so that your ad will travel as far and wide as it could go. And then you'd begin to see how much of that travel is returning into businesses for you as, as the one running the ad. So it was a comparative analysis of doing that versus doing other types of ads and which ones would give you the ROI you are looking for. So I'm happy to share the report so that you look at it, and maybe that would also offer you some insight, especially if you run ads yourself. You could try it out and then see where you're getting your ROI.
All right. Then again, a bit further on that. So it means any of the options, running ads, probably with bigger budgets, with aiming to reach more people.
Yes. So again, let me mention that even for some of my clients, an example is a real estate client that I have. When I'm running ads for them, I run ads to get leads for them, because when they use leads for them, given what they do and what they are selling, they need the leads, especially the stage that they are as a brand. They need the leads that they can push to their sales team that they will begin to pursue for businesses. So the objectives definitely differ depending on the client, where they are. If it's a new business, you really want to go heavy on reach because they need to be known before people would begin to consider them for business. So look at the brand, the client, where they are, and then what their requirements are. Again, what the report was highlighting was people will typically run engagement ads and expect it to convert into sales, or they'll run a page follow ad and expect that some way, somehow it would convert into sales. But the one that has had the bigger business impact is the one that they run for reach. So that's something for us to apply and ponder on.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Does anyone else have a question? I know, Caesar, you had a question. I don't know if it's been answered in the chat section.
Caesar's question on the SMS blast. It's Nalo Solutions. I've replied it onto the chat, but there are other options as well. But Nalo I've used works really fantastically well.
Does anyone have a question?
Yeah, initially I did, but I think it's the same question the guy just asked about the running of art. So I'm about to release a new song, and I was thinking of running an art. So I think I'll try the art for reach to see how it goes.
Yes.
And I appreciate
Caesar. Actually,
Yes,
Caesar is someone I know. Caesar, good to see you. So, Caesar, you're absolutely right to try a reach ad for a new music, because you need your music to travel as far as it could go. But just make sure you insert call to actions if it's on a streaming platform or YouTube. Let people be able to access that. But go for reach. Let the ad travel as far as it could go, because you never know where your fan base could be.
So since we don't have any questions, I wanted to also introduce you guys to an e-commerce tool. My colleague Michael would take us through. It's an e-commerce tool for your small businesses. I'd like you to please just take a few minutes. Don't leave the chat yet, or don't leave the call yet. Just go. This will probably just take 5 minutes, and then from there we'll wrap up. Okay. So Michael, if you can share your screen and start. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Winnie. So, hi guys, good evening, everybody. I just wanted to do a quick brush through on the powerful e-commerce tool, powerful tool that we have created here at OZE. We call it OZE Shop, where you as a business owner will have an opportunity to sell better online. And the OZE Business app, like many of you already know, is available on Google Play, that's for Android, and it's available on the App Store as well for iOS user. I mean, a brief introduction about OZE. Winnie has done so much to talk about OZE earlier during the session. OZE empowers millions of African businesses to do business better. Our North Star is to help you grow your business and your team with our award-winning business app. Now, straight into the business. What is OZE Shop? OZE Shop is like a marketplace for your own business. It's a, should I say, personal business website that allows you to display your products. The product itself, the information about the product, that's the image, the pricing, and then you have your customers go there to purchase your products. So it's more like you having a website, a shop, but not a physical shop, but this time it's online. So it means that your buyers would have to be familiar with your web address, and then they go on there to place your orders. And within a few clicks, they place the order, and you have gotten the order, and you'll be able to fulfill the order. ASAP, depending on the delivery timeline you have informed the buyer. Now, with OZE Shop, you have the opportunity to sell better with our powerful tools and features. I mean, you can create your own custom shop in just a few clicks, like I mentioned. You can showcase your products and services online for free. You can add your shop link to your social media pages for customers to find you. I mean, once you create your shop, you have your own custom, shop link, your own shop website, your web address. Put it on your Instagram bio, your WhatsApp profile, anywhere you have social media presence. Put it there. Put it when you're designing your flyers. Put it anywhere you have to put your contact information. Make sure your website is there so that your customers are familiar with it, and then they can just easily go to your website to purchase your product even when you're asleep, when you're busy in a session like this, you're unable to attend to your customers to answer inquiries. You just go ahead to they'll just go ahead to buy your product. I mean, also you can share your product links directly to your customers for purchase. You can get all your orders all in one place. Imagine a scenario where you channel all your sales through your OZE Shop. You don't have to have your sales scattered all over Facebook, some on WhatsApp, some on Instagram. You know, with OZE Shop, your sales are all in one place. The OZE Shop also has another feature that works hand in hand with it, which is called the inventory manager or the inventory management feature. It notifies you when you're running low on your stock. For example, when you upload products on your shop, when you're uploading products on your inventory rather, you can actually notify the app or tell the app to notify you when your stock runs as low as maybe 2, 5, 7, whatever figure that you put right in the app. And then with OZE Shop, finally, OZE Shop allows your customers to make secured payments directly to you. Because of the time limitation that I have, I'll just go ahead to quickly show you that you can actually add products to your shop and upload products to your shop in just a few clicks. I mean, this is the app. I wish I could actually do an actual product demo for you right now. This is the app. All you need to do is just to click on the OZE Shop part of the menu here, and on the next screen, you see this. The app is actually very intuitive, and on the next screen, you get to put your item name, your product pictures, your price, the cost price, and your selling price, how many units of this item you have at your location, and then how many units you want the app, how many units you want the app to remind you, at how many units you want the app to remind you that you're running low on stock. And then you review your items and you successfully upload the products here. And then also with your OZE Shop, you can easily just share your shop link directly with your customers. All you need to do is just to tap on the share icon here, or copy the link and paste it wherever you want to paste it, or tap the share icon here, and then go ahead to share your link with your customers on Instagram, on WhatsApp, I mean, on Twitter as well, on YouTube. You can put your link in your Twitter bio, put your link in your Instagram bio, or infuse it into your WhatsApp greeting messages and your away messages on WhatsApp. I mean, this is how an Ose shop looks like. This is how your customers will look like. Because this is what your customers will see whenever they try to purchase on Ose shop. This is a very beautiful shop that we've had on Ose. And then this is another business here who sells earrings, and they're actually doing so well on Ose shop. We have another business here that sells home products and sanitary products. They're actually doing very beautifully on Ose shop. They're selling their products right on Ose shop. And then they have more time to actually think and strategize about, take strategic decisions about their business. Now they don't have to bother themselves about handling negotiations, handling inquiries, because all of the information they require is actually on the shop already. You just go there, click on the web link, and then go ahead to buy the products. And then this is another business in Nigeria that is doing so well by selling turbans for ladies. Now, I will just quickly do a very, very quick, show you quickly what the shop looks like in the site of your buyers, what the shop will look like in the site of your buyers. So quickly, this is a shop here that we have in Ghana. It's called Ghana Must Read, and this person sells books, and we have another one here that I just mentioned, Brown Girl Head Box in Nigeria, where she sells beautiful turbans, and we have Edna 16 Ventures that sells various home products and sanitary products as well. So I'll just give an example of how your buyers can place an order for your product. I mean, imagine this is your business website and you have all your products uploaded here. All they need to just do is add the products to their cart. Maybe I'm buying, let's say, these 4 books I'm seeing here, add the products to my cart, and then click on the cart icon. Here you have all of the products here, and you just go ahead to proceed to checkout. I mean, put in your email here, your phone number. So mine has been pre-filled because, I mean, Google Chrome is getting smarter by the day. And whatever you fill on a particular form, somehow Google Chrome gets to save it there. This is another thing that makes, this is another reason why Ose Shop is best for your customers, because, I mean, their browser makes it easier for them. So you put in your phone number, your email address, your name, your country, Greater Accra, and then address, and maybe landmark. Let's say Black Square. I hope I got that right. Yeah, Black Star Square in Accra. And then just continue. Here you get to select your shipping method. If you want the item delivered to Tema, it costs you 70 cedis. The business owner has actually set all of these things, and he doesn't need to answer inquiries about shipping. I mean, this item is going to be delivered within 2 business days if it's in Portway, Adenta, and beyond. If the buyer is in Labadi, Teshe, and Nungua, 2 businesses as well. But in Accra and East Legon, it's 1 business day, and pickup is actually free at the seller's address. So once once your buyer selects your the shipping method they want, and you tap on continue, it takes you directly to where you'll be asked to pay for the product. This is simply what your buyers would see on Ose Shop, on Ose. And for many of you who already use Ose, you know that Ose is beyond Ose Shop. Ose is a bookkeeping app. And one good thing about selling through Ose Shop is that you do not have to enter your transactions manually anymore. If you're selling, you do not have to enter your sales manually anymore. If you actually sell 100% of your sales through your Ose Shop, the sale gets automatically recorded, and within a tap of a button, the customer can receive their receipts right in their inbox, in their email inbox. And really, this is the beauty of Ose Shop. And trust me, with this tool, with this powerful tool, you'll be able to have your business will be able to have a professional feel, and also make your customers feel have that feeling of trust in you, right? Because you're a brand and you have your own brand website. It's amazing. And trust me, you're getting this website for free, right from your app, for free within 5 minutes. And then one other thing that Ose Shop does for you is the speaker that spoke just now spoke about abandoned carts. If you were selling through Instagram and somebody comes to your Instagram page, scrolls through your page and then jumps off your page, Instagram wouldn't tell you this person viewed a certain bag on your page. Instagram wouldn't tell you this person viewed a certain item on your page. But then we see it, and what we do is that we will notify you and let you know that somebody tried buying an item on your shop. In fact, the person put the item in the cart and did not complete the payment. We'll notify you just in case you know the person. And if you don't, we'll go ahead to help you contact the person and make sure that you actually seal the deal as a business. So really, Ozi Shopper has a lot of opportunities, has a lot of benefits that Instagram wouldn't give you. And then at this point, this is where I get to close with a trial would actually convince you on how beautiful Ozi Shop is.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. So please, the link to download Ozi is in the chat box. If you're interested, I'll send it to you. I would like to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to come and join. I know some of you joined late. I'll reach out to you. I know you're asking for a recording. And also, Ellie has promised to share his slides with us. So we'll have that. Some golden nuggets that we got, or I got to say, is that you have to focus on building relationships beyond the first transaction. We have to put more effort into retention. One other thing that I learned is that reach ads have higher impact as opposed to the others. And then you also need to play more, get you out of your comfort zone, because those are the brands that actually succeed. There's a lady on Instagram that I really admire. I think her page is, she sells vegetables. I think her nickname is Adra Blobo. She literally puts herself out there. She does the videos, she does all the challenges, and it's really working for her. So I honestly believe in that. And also, it's also very important to get to know your customers, like the little details matter. Thank you so much once again for joining. If you have any questions or need anything, please reach out to me. Thank you, Ellie, so much for this impactful session. Thank you, Michael, as well. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.